Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. The massive matchup we were all waiting for concluded yesterday. NRG versus 100T, elimination game in the very first round. And 100T are out of the kickoff already after a promising start against MIBR. They've now lost back-to-back series, one against Sentinels, one against NRG. And the way they bowed out of yesterday's series was not impressive for them by any means. And Nadeshot, the owner of the team, is not a happy man. He's frustrated with proceedings. He's frustrated with the fact they're not going to play another game for the next couple of months. He reckons changes may well be necessary imminently. Very much intrigued to your thoughts on what you would do in the comment section below and the drama of last night. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. We begin here. This was, I thought, great news. Gen.G back in business. We saw that they were going to plan to shut down a while ago. Purveyors of great stats in the Valorant world. We also did get the confirmation from Matey as to what their team is going to be for next season. Caillou, Sato, Bao, Okonos, Speeddog and Weeded as the sixth man. Also notable, I don't know if they'd actually said this before, but it's going to be Drew Spark, of course, but also Psycho will be there as the coach. He's been around the organisation before for some time. He's going to step in as well. So that's their roster. Pretty exciting one, actually. Is it going to be good enough to achieve what they want to achieve? But they've scouted some players they believe have talent from multiple different sources, and, this is the direction they're going to be moving in. Let's talk China, because it's about to come to a conclusion. Yesterday, we got, again, the absolute classic when Edward Gaming managed to complete the plot armor storyline. I don't know how they always do this, but it's the same every time. I mean, it's also incredibly predictable as well, and I said that from the first time that Edward lost to Trace Esports. So, anyway, Edward Gaming, they've done this for years now. They end up losing somehow in the winner side. They come back to the losers bracket, and they make the deep run all the way through the tournament. So they did get better and better. Maybe it was just a strategy on Edward's side to get some more practice in, I don't know. Because they won the Pearl 14-12, and after that, it was no looking back. The Haven was 13-6. Fair play to BLG. They actually won 6 rounds here on the Haven, because obviously Edward had been 13-0ing everyone on it before, but it still wasn't very close. And the Lotus then was 13-5. So, BLG bow out, one series short of making it through to Masters Bangkok, but these are your two teams that will be representing China in Bangkok, and usually the plot armor says that Edward Gaming will win this series, but it may genuinely be true that Trace Esports are now the team to beat from China, because they dominated Edward Gaming in this earlier matchup. This was 13-4, 13-4, never seen much like it, and currently in the grand finals, map 1 was a 14-12 to Trace Esports on the Lotus. Bind is currently 2-0, but it's only just got underway, and this, of course, Edward Gaming's pick. So, yes, intrigued to your thoughts in the comments. Who wins? Maybe it doesn't massively matter. It is very interesting to find out who wins between Trace and Edward today, but of course, it does mean that Edward Gaming and Trace are still going to Bangkok, the two teams that maybe we would have expected to go before the tournament got underway. So, after some questions and Edward dropping down to losers and looking very shaky, they have qualified for Bangkok after all, and they've continued their run of making it there. And it's good to see, the world champions should be there. Maybe you could even argue they should get an automatic invite, really. But I guess that would be a little bit unfair on the rest of their region. So they had to qualify like everybody else, and they have done exactly that. Yesterday in EMEA, we got... I mean, this was a strange series, to be honest. Team Liquid played Apex, and there was a time during map 2 of this series where Apex actually looked okay. But apart from that, they looked pretty shambolic. And, there are some teams out there right now that aren't looking the best. Here's Fluorescent, by the way, with an ace against Team Liquid on the map 1 they played on the Abyss. And it was all looking okay until, of course, it wasn't, and things started to collapse. So this is a 2-1 in the end for Team Liquid. That Abyss, after starting quite well, swiftly fell apart, and it was a 39. But on the Pearl, wow, they bounced back. They look pretty good. 13-11. Apex get the dub. Fluorescent has a great map again. The funny, notable thing really was Batu, right? So their new player, I'm just going to call him that. And he stepped in, of course. Map 2 on the Yoru, amazing map, 27-16. Map 1 on the Sova, 7 kills from Batu. And on map 3 on the Haven, 4 kills on the Sova. So, I've never really seen much like that, where he uses one agent for 2 maps and drops 11 kills between the 2 maps. And then the map where he uses the Yora, he drops 27 kills. So, yeah, a strange map, but Liquid get the job done 13-6. I don't massively like this Liquid team, but they were better than Apex, basically. And, yeah, it was highly questionable. So, Apex are out of the tournament as well. all of these teams eliminated early will need to be thinking about whether a change may or may not be necessary. Again, Fluorescent trying to carry these guys, but not enough, right? So great stories, but unfortunately the team just not good enough. So they're out of the tournament already. The other game was Gentlemates KOI that happened yesterday. Gentlemates got the win here. This was a reasonably competitive one after the Haven that was a 13-3, 13-7, and then it bounced back 13-6. So, you know, fair play to KOI putting up a fight on the Lotus, but after that, Gentlemates took over, Click and Mini with great maps on the final side of the series. So the EMEA kickoff currently looks like this, with Gentlemates setting up a series against Fnatic. Giantex will play Liquid on the other side, but it's a few days until we get anything underway in that region again. The Pacific, though, is back underway as of today. Talon are currently playing Global Esports. It's currently 1-1. Going down to the wire on the Lotus. Talon, though, look like they might be about to get the victory here. The split went to GE 13-6. The Abyss, then they bounced back 13-9. And now they're on the verge of potentially closing out the Lotus here. So that's a big result. The winner of that plays T1. And the loser of that will drop down to play Detonation Focus Me would be the plan. And then it's Gen.G RIQ to see who plays DRX. So, yeah, some interesting series undergo in that region. But let's talk about the Americas because, I mean, man, we've got a lot to say here. Starting with 2Game Esports. And 2Game Esports, I guess this tournament, they really did live up to their name. They played 2 series, and in each of those series, they played 2 maps. They, you know, they got slammed everywhere. And this series was, I mean, it was ugly. Crew, I think they're pretty good. But this, I mean, 13-3, 13-2, like, are we serious right now? The numbers don't even imply that it'd be that bad. You look at these numbers and you think, well, 13-2 feels a bit harsh for these numbers. But no, that's what happened. So, yeah, I don't really even know what to say on this series other than 2G look like the weakest team in a region at the moment. Like, the weakest pro team compared to their competitors in the franchise world. That's how it appears. Hopefully they can improve and make some progress, I would say, over time. But the other big series of yesterday, and the big one really, was always going to be this one. 100T NRG. 100T had won their first round game, NRG had lost it, but they were still both playing in the first round of losers bracket. Loser goes home immediately. And Boostio and FNS, they've been getting into lots of drama over the last few days, lots of trash talk, and Boostio was getting ready to, as far as he was concerned, basically end FNS's career for the season. And if you want to do that, you've got to drop some decent numbers in the series, and that was not what happened at all. Obviously, the chat was criticizing FNS, but it's not like he even played badly this series at all. There was a highlight moment from 100T because 100T won the first map. It was then a close fought affair here on the Pearl, and EU had a phenomenal moment here, actually. You guys can just watch it play out when he gets all the frags that he needs to and pretty much single-handedly keeps 100T in this position. So, unbelievable rounds from him, but it actually wasn't enough in the end. So, as I say, the first game on the Lotus was 14-12 to 100T. They won that in a crazy overtime. Boostio had 4 kills, but EU with a massive takeover, really. Then the Pearl, despite EU's best efforts, it wasn't enough in the end, and it was a 13-9 bounce back from NRG. Certainly Marder really came to play here. And then the deciding map, you go to Binds, a map the 100T typically have rather liked. Their team certainly likes to play it, but their results on Binds recently, 100T, are not very good. And we saw the same story again. Their defensive side pretty much collapsed when it mattered, despite a solid competitive first half. Marder had 27 frags, Verno had 21, and you know, that was enough to get the guys over the line. And Boostio 7-18 on the Gecko, not what he was looking for at all. So 100T, look, this was a series that could have been later in the tournament, but NRG lost to Cloud9 fair and square. 100T lost to Sentinels fair and square. So they were down in losers, and this was an elimination match to go home, one of the first teams basically to go home from the region. And it's an ugly turn of events, as Weeded says, senile old man diffing as Empic abuser, map 3 battles of the mind. So, you know, comparing Boostio's performance compared to FNS, because FNS was actually looking pretty good. If you look at the overall numbers in the series, FNS closed out 39 in 38. He went positive in the series. Boostio 23 in 53. So, like, if you want to criticize FNS, you've got to drop some numbers, and you've got to not get, you know, horrifically outcalled by him on the final map of the series. That's why Boostio is getting clowned. Of course, it's not just a Boostio thing necessarily, although I do think that that has a part to play. The Boostio, the way that he approaches the game now, doesn't seem to be the same as it was when he was, you know, helping the Evil Geniuses roster win the World Championship. His approach does seem to be somewhat different in terms of the way that he's making space and calling for the team, and the team just isn't looking very good. The bottom line is, though, that that 100T have been in a similar position now for years. Like, they have some promise, they show some promise, they look okay, they then lose to Sentinels, and then they lose out of the tournament immediately. It's happened several times now, and, as far as Nadeshot's concerned, 100T are basically treading water, and that means changes might be necessary. So Ethan says, played badly, the team clutched up, we advance. Obviously, the other day, Boostio said, hot take, NRG loses out. Well, guess which team lost outright? So, Boostio's brought it on himself, all of the trash talk, understandably. EU's frustrated, being out of the kickoff, and Asuna then says this, GG's to them, gotta wait 2 months for our next game. And this is part of the problem with the scheduling, right? That they've come in here, they've played only a couple of series, 100T, and they kind of know where they stand, but they don't really. And they have now ages to wait because there's no matches until after Bangkok, and they're not going to Bangkok, so good luck with that. It is a problem, but also it gives them 2 months to make a roster change, and maybe that's what they need to consider, because at the end of the day, they played 3 series here. They beat MIBR, but MIBR said that there was some Cortasia-related excuses at play. They then lost to Sen and NRG. Good teams, but still, if you're trying to be a championship winner, losing to Sen and NRG, certainly in this manner, is not really the way that you can afford to do it, especially because NRG were in losers bracket for a reason. There was even this, as Hitch says, obviously popular member of the COD scene, 23 and 53, and you can't do a trivia video, right? Because we know that Boostio was used to be complaining about the structure of the content there at 100T, and Hitch has taken the mick out of that, saying, look, if you're not going to do content, you're at least a better win. And we then saw NRG taking the mick as well out of Boostio himself. So the question then became, what next here? Because Nadeshot says, my frustrations are the same as yours with our VALORANT team. Feels like we are spinning our wheels in place. Got to find some solutions soon because it feels like we're cruising at the same pace each year and it clearly isn't working. Something has got to give. Now, that implies changes are likely, if not coming potentially soon. They will at least be considered. As Chet goes on to say, absolutely, the tournament structure does not make this situation easy, but at the same time, it is worth thinking about that. Asuna's been on the team for years, and it's not like Asuna is necessarily playing so badly that he's like the problem, but I think there's many pieces of that team that might be part of the problem. So, yeah, intrigued to your thoughts. What would you do if you were calling the shots at 100T right now? What changes, if any, would you look to make over the next couple of months? Because, as Nadeshot says, we've been doing the same for years now, and nothing's really changing. Something's got to give. So, very much intrigued to your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.